Dum 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 da da dum da da dum da dum. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. He is even more than anyone that you adore. Oh, love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Do in luck and make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Oh, love was made for me and you.
To them as individuals, as couples, and who tonight would not be possible without. We're going to hear from Paul's parents, from the groomsmen, from the lovely bridesmaids, and then from Paul and Sarah themselves. So let me introduce to you Dr. Paul, Dr. Scott, the original Dr. Scott.
That Margie and I have been waiting a long time for this occasion. And what an occasion it is, and now they're married. We've had concerns about the weather, and it seems that they were all very justified. Paul has always said that he didn't want to get married in a church, but I can see that marrying in a church is not a bad idea if you get a roof over your head. This beautiful setting, and we know what this property means to Paul and Sarah with their love of anything to do with the beach and the water. There's been lots of preparation by Sarah and Paul, and together you've produced this fantastic event. I must admit I was a little concerned when they said they were getting married in a teepee. Certainly nothing like teepees that we knew as kids, but this is very smart. To go back a bit, Paul is always up for some fun, and sometimes it may come unstuck. Margaret and I were staying with Paul when he was in first year med at Newcastle, and it was a weekend of the medical faculty ball, and we kindly offered to drop them to the venue, and Paul had been under the impression that it was a beach theme, and so wore a dinner jacket and white dinner shirt and bow tie, black shoes, and his typical Larry board shorts. Unfortunately, Paul seemed to be the only one that knew about this theme, and there were some very amazed looks from others attending.
I rocked it, don't you worry.
Paul is a very caring son and a regular advisor on matters of family, finance and fashion. And we do appreciate this. Mind you, as an anaesthetist, he has plenty of research time.
He's always on the phone, he can't be researching.
He had a circuitous route to medicine via com law and arts, and this has certainly given him a broad education. We're very proud of what he's achieved. Sarah, you look stunning tonight. We have loved getting to know you, and we're amazed at what you've achieved in the last few years. Just excuse me one moment. We have loved spending time with Paul and Sarah, and we're privileged to be with them at the Eiffel Tower when they announced their engagement. And we've certainly had lots of great fun and great meals with them. Their 3 babies, Matilda, Oscar, and Charlie. have brought great joy to them. I'm sorry about the shock there. But, and Charlie, of course, is our grand dog who's coming to stay. I'll be doing the rounds of Alexandra Headlands with him for the next few weeks. We welcome Sarah and her mum Glenda to our extended family. Paul and Sarah, we hope you have long lives with lots of fun, happiness and success. On behalf of Marg and I, and thank you all. And I'd like to propose a toast to Paul and Sarah. Paul and Sarah. Paul and Sarah.
And the fireworks start going off.
So friendship isn't about who you have known the longest. It's about who walked into your life and said, I'm here for you, and proved it. Sarah is blessed to have that kind of friendship with Joe and Loretta. Ladies, please come forward. I just want to take this moment and opportunity to say, you ladies look absolutely amazing. Let's everyone give them a hand, eh? Honestly, it's stunning. You've done the females proud.
When you guys talk, can one of you guys just hold that, just for the video?
Of course.
Thanks.
Certainly got away with words there. Thank you. All right. Well, pardon me.
Yeah.
So, hi. For those of you who don't know us, we've already been introduced, so let's do this anyway. I'm Loretta, and this is the lovely Jo. We're the bridesmaids. So I was lucky enough to meet Sarah through mutual friends about 9 years ago. So thank you, Stella and Chris, because we instantly clicked through dancing at Byron Bay Blues Fest, and from then on you were my second sister.
I can't remember the words. I was lucky enough to meet Sarah through mutual friends in the Valley more than 15 years ago. But it wasn't that until we properly met when she first walked into a pub that I was working at in London that we really clicked. I still remember Sarah's exuberance and beautiful positive nature the moment we saw each other in London, and we instantly clicked. Sarah got a job at the pub, and we ended up sharing a room together in central London. We were instantly partners in crime, although not actual crime, in case anyone is wondering. And from then on we worked together, we ran havoc in the streets and bars of London together, regularly danced all night and lived in very close quarters together. And thankfully we shared the same hometown of Brisbane, so we've been like family ever since.
Wait, there's more.
Don't get too excited.
Hang on. All right. So a bit more serious. Sorry, tone it down again. Sarah is one of those gems that you find in life, a person that pops up out of nowhere that you feel instantly like family. We are also lucky to have Sarah in our lives. You are kind, this is a very long list, kind, sincere, caring, generous, crazy smart, passionate, dedicated beyond comprehension, and earn success everywhere you turn. You, my dear, are genuinely one of the most inspiring women to all of us in this room today, so thank you. I just wanted to touch on the hens party that we had a couple of weekends ago. It was a very small hens do, but Sarah was surrounded by some amazing friends, incredible women also. We all made a journal entry that night and that weekend, and the sincerity, care, pride and love in which you have spoken about is just magical. So thank you, ladies. Sorry, this is a really long speech.
Yeah, we cut it down. So just some of the things that we love about Sarah and her is her amazing heart, genuine warmth and kindness, her sense of adventure, and her fun-loving attitude to life. Sarah treats all of those she loves as family and is always there for people that she loves. She's really a true friend. Sarah is also an absolute powerhouse and so inspiring to us all.
She's ever driven to achieve and always encouraging and supportive of those around her. Getting to know Pablo over the last few years, we've found that he shares the exact same amazing qualities as Sarah's. Pablo also has a heart of gold, shares Sarah's sense of adventure, keen intellect, and enjoys spending time with those they love. They're both amazing people who genuinely make the world a better place.
Oh, this is so long. We're so sorry. All right. So, on to a story about Sez. Great. Which one? So, we all know Sarah has a great sense of adventure. There's no surprises there. And many of us in this room have been fortunate enough to share some of these crazy travel times. It's hard to select them, there's just so many. But there was this one time that Sarah and I had planned a trip to Stella and Chris's wedding again in Scotland. We'd planned to meet in Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival beforehand. However, we're so well organised, we got our arrival dates wrong. I had arrived at a really delightful establishment. Yes, it was my first time backpacking with the really experienced backpacker Sarah, which is even funny to think that you were a backpacker. And yes, there I was, so excited, expecting to see Sarah and her well-badged hiking pack in the foyer, which was more like a really dirty bar, like it was sticky on the ground. Anyway, let's forget about that. Instead, I didn't find Sarah. She was expecting me the next day. I also didn't have a bed to sleep in, so I was frantically looking for a place to stay. But of course, Sarah's oblivious. She's off finding adventure, which she always seemed to do. And returns at the end of the day. She's totally boozed, and she comes running and she's like, "I've just met the Hoff." I'm like everyone. Does anyone know who the Hoff is? So,
Everyone knows the Hoff.
Everyone knows the Hoff, right? He's like the dirty old man, six-pack on Baywatch. You know. Whatever, he's famous, right? So she didn't just meet the Hoff at the Fringe Festival. She was on stage doing limbo in a competition. And I think you won.
Love you guys. So we're finishing now, we promise. So Sarah and Paul, obviously you're incredible people in your own right, but it's no secret that together you're a truly dynamic duo. I've lost my place.
You didn't even bring wine up. What were you thinking?
Okay. It is.
Sorry. It's not
Okay.
funny. Okay, this is serious.
Get that. Sorry. Sorry, we nearly got there.
We're so close. Okay. Do you want me to do it?
Okay.
Okay, right. Gathering. Sarah and Paul. Oh, okay, we did that bit.
No, okay.
We were so close.
Sorry.
Right.
We've had a couple of drinks. Okay, it is so amazing that you've found each other, and I don't doubt the beautiful future that you'll have together, and as a family with Matilda, Oscar, and Charlie. It is an honour to be here today. Sorry.
Okay, let's get serious.
In
It
celebration.
is an honour to be here today in celebration of your loving commitment to each other, so thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We wish you both so much happiness and love now and throughout the rest of your lives together. So, in saying that, let's all raise our glasses to Sarah and Paul.
The Scots.
The Scots!
Held tonight, elders both past and present. Today, of course, we're here to acknowledge Paul and Sarah's traditional wedding, the wedding that has occurred on or adjacent to their traditional land. We are so close. I'm Simon, Paul's eldest brother, who along with Bear, we're the best men. Now you wonder why I'm the one speaking, and of course, apart from being older, more mature, good looking, no, I've cut that short too. So Sarah and Paul, congratulations on your wedding. Your marriage, your children, our niece and our nephew, fantastic children, Matilda and Oscar. And unfortunately they have gone home to sleep, but they were wonderful today, and we had a lot of fun up there having some photos earlier, and they were great. Yes, for Matilda and Oscar, unfortunately not here tonight. Now, you both look stunning, suave, respectively. And Sarah, your dress is great. It did catch a lot of dirt and sand on the beach. But the day has gone so well. Yoga transitioned to the balcony from the beach under the skies, and notwithstanding the rain, the setup here, as everyone has said, the teepee, like Dad, I said teepee, you're kidding me. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. And here, the house, everything, you've done a great job. Joe and Loretta, we haven't got to know you that well yet, and I'm sure we will over the years to come. And Dan, and some biking in New Zealand sounds good in due course. But it's been great. And when looking around tonight, we have the bride looking great, the bridesmaids looking great, the best women, the best children. In fact, all of the women tonight were great. So I think we should raise a toast to all the women this evening. Gentlemen, the women this evening. And I would grab my drink, but I'm stuck by my microphone. So Paul. Thank you. So Paul, the middle brother.
Looks nervous, sweetheart.
We should be. Slightly taller, somewhat broader shouldered. Described by my wife for many years as the charismatic brother. Compelling charm. Now, Ed and I were never quite sure where we stood. It must be something to do with that wry smile, the quarter cocked eyebrow, the half-stunned look he sometimes uses when confronted with doing something silly. It's so disarming. Smart, driven to succeed, or at least party 10 years at uni. Focused, following his convictions. Caring, most of the time, when he's not calling Ed and I a loser. Fun, keen on the outdoors and the physical pursuits, and that's something that clearly he's found a soulmate in Sarah. A pink kayak.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a surf ski.
Surf ski. Paul continues to this day to have that eye for a toy, including the destruction of Will's remote-controlled helicopter on its first outing.
Sorry, dude.
Pursuing business interests, even second jobs, making ends meet to pay the mortgage for next door. Mate, Ed and I are proud of you, and congrats on snaring Sarah. Now, Ed and I had wondered, as the years marched by and he went over the hill, would he ever get married and have kids? Well, tick, tick, he's got both. Now, we had wondered at times if it was the bird-watching propensity, chasing, photographing the beauties of the species and always trying to capture one more for his scrapbook. Was this just too distracting? Given the way he talked about the birds, ornithologically, we wondered if he might elope with an emperor penguin from Antarctica. Such was his enthusiasm for that species. Anyway, we suspect the simplest explanation was that he was avoiding providing Edward with a chance to return the speech at a wedding. Let's just say Paul's speech. No, I won't talk about that. On that note, let me know that you can put your nerves at rest. He is sitting very carefully, not moving. He did lose the game of paper, scissors, scalpel. Choosing paper when the other options are scissors and scalpel, he was never going to win. Sarah, we have enjoyed getting to know you. And it's interesting, we were chatting to our kids about some of your qualities. And one of the two things they noted, and all noted, was your smile. Every time they see you, you have a smile on your face. And the second, interestingly, was that they noted you always took the time to talk to them. No matter how you were engaged in no matter what, you always engaged with them. And I think that is an important quality and we should acknowledge it. So Ed and SJ, on behalf of the best men and the best wives, Ed and SJ and Nat and I are very comfortable with Paul's love for you. Paul was somewhat of a germaphobe. He was very clean and particular. Now, let me go on. And, you know, notwithstanding his travel and his times camping and all that sort of thing, he was always very particular about cleanliness. Yet having met Sarah and, importantly, Charlie, wherever he is, Sarah's Westie, Charlie, things have changed. Paul has allowed the dog the run of the house, the bed, the couch, but more importantly, what impressed Edward and I was that he built this dog tunnel under the house. Now this was crawling around in the mud in the undercroft, about this high, and constructing this tunnel. And if that wasn't good enough, it was the fact that he proceeded to commando crawl through this tunnel with a sponge to mop up a liquefied possum that had died in said tunnel, and Charlie was enjoying the smell. Now, it's clear that you've got Sarah's love, but you've clearly adopted Charlie as well. So, Sarah, we think Paul has scored with you and with Matilda and Oscar, and for us and our families, we look forward to spending many more years with you. Taking account of your first meeting, we have a bottle of champagne that you must keep on your counter for the years to come to celebrate when you first met. And so here, we'll leave it here. But we also look forward to spending many more years. So, with that, I think we should have a toast.
Stop! That can't be it.
Oh, the beauty. The look on your faces. It is so nice.
He can't be let off scot-free. All right. Good evening.
As Simon mentioned, I'm Edward, Paul's younger brother. Yes, younger brother. I know there has been some conjecture. Product, IPL, Botox, and everyone still thinks I'm older. It must be a maturity level thing. Simon, I do dispute that you're the best man. Sure, you're about a centimetre taller, but better looking? I mean, really, come on. Okay, congratulations, Paul and Sarah, on your marriage and for producing such an amazing wedding. You make a wonderful couple, and I'm sure that I speak on behalf of everyone here that we are honoured to share it with you this evening. Sarah, I hope you're still talking to me after this speech. Hey, just think, it could have been worse. Disco could have written it. You've married a wonderful guy. As Simon said, Paul never makes decisions quickly, and not without a lot of careful consideration. And I believe that he's made a perfect choice for a wife. Now let's get to it. It's tradition at Scott family weddings for there to be a pin drop moment. A particularly crude joke or inappropriate story. And I do hope to continue that tradition here this evening. I feel it's not a good wedding. I mean, when Mum says
you always know you've had a good party if the police turn up to tell you to turn down the music, or perhaps to stop throwing rocks across the highway at the police station. I feel it's not a good wedding speech unless my mother has given me the kill it now manoeuvre that I remember so fondly from my brother's speech, from Paul's speech at my wedding. So I had a decision tonight. I had a decision to make. Should I take the high road and leave the past in the past? Or get down and dirty, reveling in Paul's past mistakes and misdemeanours. I ummed and ahed over many hours, days and weeks. I'll let you decide which way I chose. As well as the champagne, where's my able assistants? Yes, here they are. As well as the champagne, I brought along a couple of extra things that just as part of a care package for the happy couple. Things to help smooth the years of our time together. Your time together. I should say that. All right. Okay. Thank you, William. All right. First up. So originally the honeymoon was going to be a much more of a family affair, with the kids going as well, and my mother and father going as part of the entourage to help assist with the babysitting. So I figured they would need some, signs for the door at certain times. So I figure we went to Bunnings and we came up with this one. We thought maybe not quite obvious enough, so we came up with this. Next. So what have we got in here? So, here we got a bottle of lime cordial. Seems a bit obscure. This cordial is to replace that which was tragically lost / sort of sprayed over the inside of our small yacht on a family trip to the Whitsundays. Paul, being the good fella he is, was making cordial for us all. And the weather, dark and stormy, no, not really, just sunny and a little bit of sort of choppy waves. Paul placed / balanced the cordial on the downstairs in the yacht. Now, it's not a very big yacht, has a tendency to rock very easily. Mum noted Paul's placement of the cordial and said, "Paul, please don't put it there. Darling, second son of my heart, heir to spare to the Scott family name." Paul said, "Don't be silly, Mum. It'll be fine." Needless to say, the boat rocked, the cordial fell, landing directly on its bottom and producing a beautiful green fountain that covered the inside of the boat and all and sundry in a fine sticky green coating. At this point, Simon and I decided that we'd make a tactical retreat to the dinghy. And as we rowed away, chuckling to ourselves, all we could hear was Mum saying, "You stupid boy! You stupid boy!" And Paul, very calm, but in a quintessential Paul way, saying, "Mum, I may do stupid things, but I am not stupid." So, Sarah, the cordial is to remind you that when he does stupid things, he does really mean well, and yeah, he's not stupid. In Paul's younger days, he was an executive member of the Chocolate Appreciation Society at the Uni of Queensland. And as the name suggests, it's all about appreciation of chocolate, but more in sort of quantity rather than quality. There were certain chocolates that he appreciated more than others. Take, for instance, the delectable treat that is the Bounty. Rich, moist coconut covered in dark chocolate. The stuff of dreams, and more as it turns out. Cadbury, the makers of the Bounty chocolate bar, had brought out a new flavour, a new mango flavour, and Paul was very enamoured by it. And he declared that this Bounty is better than sex. Now, Simon and I were shocked, surprised and flabbergasted. This really demonstrated that A, he'd obviously not been doing it right, or B, he wasn't very good at it. So, as part of our sister-in-law support program, I've got something for you. Where? It's a Bounty. Now, your honeymoon's 2 weeks, isn't it? Oh. What? Maybe more. Okay. Finally, Sarah, I'm sure you're aware that one of Paul's favourite desserts is chocolate brownies. Now, I have made a few... I've just made a couple of adjustments to the recipe on the box. The additions are sort of boutique and organic in nature. Common in the northern New South Wales hinterland area. If you ask around in a town, say like Nimbin, and ask if anyone has the good stuff. The brownies are very Moorish. In fact, they're so good, it's almost as though they make you hungrier when you're eating them. My advice is to resist. Resist the munchies. Do not overindulge. However, if you do, I've added a very helpful education sheet on hashtag Disco's Brownies, including the Poisons info line number, the number for the ambulance, a map marked clearly with your address, and the name of Paul's supervising doctor from the local hospital. And some duct tape to help you stop falling off the floor. Paul has been a great brother to Simon and I. Always supportive, there for a chat, advice or a good argument. Writing this speech, I realised that it's much easier to tell funny stories than it is to get emotional and sappy. And oh boy, are there some stories. Make a woman blush, make your dad cough, and mum's hair go white. But funny stories do not make a man. And for me, he's been such a fantastic older brother. And for instance, he's always been there for advice and assistance whenever I've needed it. When Sarah Jane, yes to the annoyance of having two Sarah Janes, or Sarah Scott, sorry, I should say.
There's only one Sarah Jane.
That's true. I mean, really disco. And the whole disco thing, that's another story involving tight shirts and bright lights. Anyway, Sarah Jane and I ended up in Inverness in Scotland with Sarah Jane 26 weeks pregnant with appendicitis, needing surgery. We actually have a CT scan of our eldest son in utero. No residual sort of radiation defects apart from the slight tick and the extra eye, but I digress. Needless to say, it was a nerve-wracking time, but made much easier when Paul, who was working in Edinburgh at the time, came and sorted accommodation and spent time keeping both Sarah Jane and I sane. Sarah Jane and I, Jasper, Elodie and Tristan, Simon and Nat, Bella, Wills and Abby, we all have happy memories of many dinners, holidays and time spent with Paul, and now also with Sarah Matilda and Oscar. And we're hoping for many more fun times. Not necessarily children, but after noting 3 of everything on the gift registry, I'm guessing that they've either got bad maths, that Charlie's getting a sleeping bag, or that they're expecting more.
We're waiting the answer on that one.
Matilda and Oscar are such wonderful little human beings and are growing up with such wonderful personalities. You may have got the whole marriage and kids thing traditionally around the wrong way, but your children are a credit to you, and I guess that sort of saved you from the family planning jokes in Dad's speech. Congratulations, big brother. You're a lucky man marrying such a wonderful woman. As was sung about Alan Bond, they said you'd never make it, but you finally came through. Let's hope you don't end up in jail for tax fraud, and that you have a lovely, long, happy, love-filled life with your wife and beautiful children. Please raise a glass to the happy couple.
Well done. Well played.
The grants have come up from Sydney and Canberra, and we, as I said, we really appreciate everyone taking the time to come up because it's very meaningful for us. Despite the weather, we've had a fantastic day. And I hope you've all enjoyed it. This, of course, doesn't happen without a lot of effort, and there's certainly no doubt who made this day happen. I made probably the most toughest decision of all. I chose the wife. And since then, it's all been pretty easy for me. But in fact, Sarah has done the vast majority of this. Every plate that you're eating on there tonight has been selected from second-hand shops and from around southeast Queensland. Every glass has been selected, so she's done an amazing job, and she's done this while juggling 2 very small and beautiful but incredibly demanding children. She, as Rob has said, she's a specialist in medicine, and you're amazing. And she's started a private practice, and she's doing general life jobs and looking after me, and she's incredible. And she's done all this and organised the wedding, so I take my hat off to you. Joe and Loretta, thank you so much. You're amazing people. You are so smiley and sunny and funny, and you make Sarah happy when you're around her, and for that I'm very grateful. Your Hens Weekend in Byron was a massive hit with Sarah and the backpackers at Chinky Monkeys.
That's very fun.
Seriously, I was asleep after my Bucks party. I'd been having carrot juice and birch and muesli. Seriously. And I was asleep and got a text message from Joe with Sarah dancing on a table at a Backpackers at midnight.
It's pretty fun.
So that was all. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks to my brothers for being my groomsmen and showing your discretion in my speech writing. Unfortunately, it could have been worse, but you did very well. These are 2 guys that I've always looked up to. They've been my best friends who have supported my challenges, forgiven my failings, and celebrated my successes. And thanks for being by my side today. My mum and dad, Margie and John, you have been there for me throughout the thick and the thin of my life, whenever I needed it. And the 3 of us, Simon, Edward and I, are blessed to have you as parents. You're caring and supportive, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sarah and I are very grateful to have you help setting up for the wedding. You've spent a lot of time with us, and that's really important to us. Thank you. Glenda, I thank you for supporting my marriage to Sarah. Getting to know you over the last few years has shown me just where Sarah inherited her tenacity and her ability just to get shit done. Our children love seeing you when you come around and you're with your endless supply of raspberries. I'd just like you to raise your glasses to Margie and John and Glenda for us. Thank you. Green cordial. There we go. Julia, thank you so much, our yoga guru. Where are you, Julia? Yeah, amazing. You made such an effort to run a yoga class today, which allowed us to start the day with tranquility, peace and love in our hearts. So I appreciate that. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the army we had today of the Scotts, Lorenzo, Dan Mitchell, who created a wet weather venue out of a dry weather venue. And you guys were brilliant. Thanks very much. And once again, Muscaldrin, you're a dude. Thank you. Along with many of my obsessive but very cute and endearing traits, reading articles that have researched what makes people happy, and listening to podcasts that summarise the wise words that people say, you know, when they're just about to die, and they say, if I had my life again, I'd do such and such. The number one thing people say that they would like is to have a beach house. No. In fact, that in fact is never mentioned. Having things and having stuff is actually never mentioned. The number one thing is having close personal relationships and relationships in your community. As I look around here tonight, I see that I will be a happy man and we will be a happy family. I felt welcomed in Sarah's family from our very first meal that we shared together. I have felt embraced by Sarah's amazing friends from our very first drink together. And Sarah and I have been blessed with amazing friends that we have gathered as we have walked our meandering path to this point. All of you here tonight are such an important part of our life and our future, and it is never a moment wasted when we spend it with you guys. So thank you. I suppose the most significant moment for me in my quest for happiness was the moment I laid eyes on you. Well, it's true. It's true. It's true.
It actually makes me blush. I didn't know you wrote that.
Your beauty caught my eye. But I was seen to realise you are so much more than just beautiful.
Aww.
Your passion for life, your boundless enthusiasm, your love for your work, your amazing love and tenderness for our children. I love you so much. Your resilience to life's ups and downs, and you are so very funny. All these parts of you make me feel extraordinarily blessed that I can now call you my wife. You're beautiful the first thing in the morning when we wake.
That's not true.
You're beautiful when you're dressed for work. You're beautiful when we're walking on the beach. And I even think you're pretty hot when you're angry at me. She is pretty hot. But by God, you're beautiful tonight. I love you with all my heart, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. So please raise your glass to my beautiful bride. Look, thank you for all for coming and celebrating this amazing day with us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening and have fun. Thank you.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. He is even more than anyone that you adore. Oh, love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Do it, look and make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Oh, love was made for me and you. Yeah.